Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of Birds vs. Boys. Finally, Aiden and KMS back together after my trip and the football game that happened on Sunday. A lot has happened and a lot still to come down the line, especially with the Philadelphia Eagles in a if you say massive, like this might be, Aiden, like the biggest Thursday night football game we've had on Thursday night. Hello,
It
everybody.
could be, which is crazy because last week was awesome between the Bengals and the Ravens. And every time those two teams play, it's just this insane shootout. But yeah, this is far and away the biggest Eagles Commanders game that we've seen in literally, I think the stat was the other day, since 2000. Like it's the latest in the year these two teams have played against each other. For the division on the line in November since 2000. I was trying to find the stat. Yeah, here's the stat from Zach Berman. This is great. The last time both teams had records more than one game above 500 entering November, it was November 26th, 2000. That's the last time these two teams played each other in November, and both teams had records over 500. That seems almost impossible that it's been over 2 decades, but that stat kind of alone isolates how big of a game this is. This is the college game day game. This is the game everybody's at. This is the game everybody cares about. This is the game that propels your season if you win this one. So it's huge, and it's great for football fans because obviously, like you said, Thursday night football might be the biggest Thursday night football game of the year as well.
And the Eagles are peaking. I think we can all say, after that Buccaneers game, which you called, it's okay, it's time, it's done, it's over, it's time to move forward and get healthy and get the horses going, play the young guys. And ever since that moment has happened, they've been all gas, no brakes.
It's exactly what you had hoped, and they're going to continue to be all gas, no brakes. So the next 3 weeks are the mini gauntlet, if you will, of their season. Nothing compared to last year. And they face the Commanders with the division on the line. They'll go West Coast for the only time against a good Rams team. And then they'll play the Ravens, and we know how good that team can be as well. So this is really where this team decides, are we going to be the team that collapsed late last year and looked like they had to grind it out and it was exhausting for them to play? Or are we going to be on the 2022 course and, take ourselves to the next level and become contenders again? I'm an optimist. I'm a positive Eagles fan. I'm leaning towards the latter, that this team really takes off right here. I'm confident on Thursday, and I'm confident in this team. It has played out exactly almost as how we thought it would play out. Like you said, they lost in Tampa. It was a disaster. And what happened right after that? Bye week, and then they kicked it into gear, and they should keep that going this week.
Yep. Speaking of gauntlets, just the season is a gauntlet for the Cowboys this year.
Their gauntlet is waking up every day and going to practice.
And I will say this: with you said you're optimistic with the Eagles, and I am just as optimistic with this take that I'm going to give right now. With the quarterback situation as it is right now, too, I think you could easily say that the Cowboys are one of the 3 worst teams in the NFL. I put the Giants above them right now.
The Panthers just beat them, so it would be hard to put the Panthers at this point above them. I will say this because you and I didn't get to talk about it together, but I would like to just add as much kerosene and gasoline on the Cowboys dumpster fire as humanly possible as rivals. Using the Trey Lance package down 30 was hilarious to me. And just the optics of it all, where the game was already over. So you thought Trey Lance was going to come in to see what you have in him. And they brought him in for 2 plays and went back to Cooper Rush. Just a train wreck.
Hold on. Team. He handed off the ball for 2 plays.
And then it was
even get involved.
Yes. He ran the ball once himself. He handed it off the next time. It was 3rd and 9, and they brought back in Cooper Rush. And this is also the kid who notoriously has just never thrown a football. Not necessarily his fault. He's had the worst luck of anybody. He is like the Stanley Yelnats of football players. He didn't carry Madame Zeroni up the mountain at some point along his family lineage, and it's been a disaster for him. So you would think, hey, maybe let him rip it down 30. Yep. I guess not.
Nope. I mean, okay. You know what? Maybe let him start next week. I guess not. No. I just they have been a laughing stock since the the playoff game last year against. It's been a shit show. It's been a soap opera, and it just continues. Now we're fighting over the sun again. You have your star wide receiver coming out and be like, "Yeah, I would love some curtains. Can I have some curtains, please? Like maybe bring in a designer. Okay, maybe we can get some nice, just do
Blackout
it.
curtains.
Oh, wait, hold on, Jerry. You have those curtains already, and you put them up for like WWE, and you put them up for concerts, and you put them up for boxing. Oh, we have them already. Cool.
And the whole aesthetic, the reason being he just likes the aesthetic of the sun coming in at that time of day. Like there's nothing to it.
I will
And he
say
thinks,
some of those pictures Eagles content creators are putting out with the Jalen Hurts throwing it with the sun coming in, it looks cool shit.
didn't lie. The aesthetic did look cool in that picture. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. The photographer did a great
star wide receiver drop a touchdown because he can't see.
because he can't see the ball. Yeah, and so that is hilarious. I can't believe that they've gotten to the point where the sun is the issue, and every Jerry Jones quote sounds like the episode of Succession when the dad has a kidney infection, so he's like slowly losing his mind. At everything he says, all the kids are like, "What is this guy talking about?" And they think he's literally just lost it, but really is a kidney infection. It's that, but every post game interview with Jerry Jones and every radio interview. So he doesn't have a kidney infection. That's just him. And I find it hilarious. Him asking, "Where's the moon?" I mean, a lot of Eagles fans said this 44-6 will forever be the best game of my lifetime. The Boykin interception is another great one. Beating the Cowboys by 30 and then having the owner ask the reporters where the moon is gotta be top 5 at this point.
Like, think about just the sound bites from Jerry this year, asking about the moon. We're talking about the sun. He's getting radio guys fired. Like, just
Classic, but it's the classic like shit that happens at the end of a reign of a dictator. Like their hubris flies too close to the sun. It's literally like every Greek mythology of all time, even the Roman Empire, like everything that's ever been has ended this way with a dictator who was too arrogant to listen to anybody else. And it caused the dismay and the failure of both himself and his entire empire. That is the Dallas Cowboys right now. That's exactly how it feels like. And you can see it in this matchup this week between the Commanders and the Eagles, who the Eagles are, I will give them credit from ownership down to head coaching. They're open to criticism. They are open to reflection and how to self-improve. We've seen that over the past couple of years, and it has helped them this year to get back to where they need to be. And then on the other side of the ball, the Commanders are the number one example. If you get rid of your horrible owner, what could happen? And I'm not even saying Josh Harris is a good owner as a Sixers fan. I'm just saying he's like not Dan Snyder. And look what happened to that team in 1 year. But that's where the Cowboys are. I know it's not as easy for them to just get rid of the Jones family, but that's where they are.
Yes. And I can't wait until 2 weeks from now after Dak Prescott's surgery is complete. Another talking point this year are the tours at the Star and how, the players feel like they're zoo animals. I can't wait till Jerry has Dak Prescott leading the tours at the Star on one of those like scooter things.
That optically, I don't think you could ever beat that.
That's
one of those things. Like you watch these. There's a bunch of documentary series now. There's 30 for 30. Netflix did one, and during them, you're like, I can't believe that actually happened. Yep. Like half the stuff you're like, I can't believe that actually happened. In 15 years, we'll be doing a Cowboys one and be like, yeah, Dak Prescott was wheeling around when he hurt his hamstring and he was meeting the tours as the team practice. And you're like, I can't believe that actually was a thing that occurred.
That's an unbelievable thing too with Dak Prescott. And then we'll get back into the Eagles because that's the important thing. Two points here. One, everybody was saying he's not running. He runs one time finally and tears the hamstring off his bone. So either there was an injury there already, or he was like, see, guys, that's why I was not running. And two, I didn't realize, and you probably do, the IR rule, which is just insane. So if you put him on IR now, he can't be at meetings. He can't be in the quarterback room. He can't be at practice. He can only be in the facility for rehab. And apparently that was why they were somewhat contemplating like not putting him on season-ending IR. and kind of maybe eating the roster spot because of his leadership and like because they want him by Trey Lance and this and that. And like that's also why they said they think they delayed the surgery and putting him in IR because they needed more help to get Cooper Rush ready for the game. Well, that didn't work. But
yeah,
it's a little asinine. Like that's a rule that needs to be changed.
It definitely is. Just because it's, I mean, what's the difference between an IR and a suspension at that point? If you
exactly, if
like
you get suspended, I think you can still be in the building. You just can't play.
Then that's what's crazy is then you can be on the sideline on Sundays. So like you can't be in the with the team during the week, but you can be with the team on the weekends during the game. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Did you see that?
I remember that
Dak almost got hurt on the sideline.
No, but
they had him standing on the sideline, and I think it was either the Ferguson fumble or the one, I think it was the snap, and then Terrence Steele was like bumping it around or something was on the sideline. And like the players like rolled in and almost rolled into Dak. Like the whole thing. I'm like, what? Why is he there? Like right there.
Good point. That would be very ironic if he couldn't be around the team and then got hurt being around the team. Yeah. I do remember that though. I'm surprised they haven't changed that rule. Back all the way to 2017. With Wentz, he mentioned, and all the guys mentioned, because we had a lot of injuries, it's kind of isolating going from being on a really, really good team, and then you get hurt and you're on IR and you're just isolated from them.
Yep.
Like you're on a different team. You just like work out and rehab on your own. So I do think that's a rule that should change and probably will. But for now, bad.
And I, you and I haven't gotten to talk about this, but with my enjoyment of this game, I was flying home from Mexico on Spirit Airlines because of how expensive flights were. So I was on a $1,200 flight on Spirit Airlines. I had to pay $19 for the Wi-Fi to be able to watch this game. I didn't realize that you can't even get a cup of coffee on Spirit Airlines. You have to pay for it. If you want to use the bathroom, you have to pay.
I was going to say a cup of coffee, brother. You're next to fly the plane if something happens with a pilot. A cup of coffee. What are you talking about?
I was like, can I use the bathroom? They're like, yeah, it's $12. I was like, what do you mean? I had to pay $12 to use the bathroom? But so I got the game.
$22. You're like the back of the school buses when we were in 5th grade. You hit a bump, everyone hits their head on the ceiling. That's literally Spirit Airline. When you land, you're like, holy shit, oh God. But you hit your head on it, but you're like, at least we landed on safe ground.
So I'm watching this game. I got my wife next to me who is an Eagles fan. And then obviously we're flying into Philadelphia. So full of Eagles fans watching the game. We had a lot of friends. We literally like are touching down in Philadelphia. Like wheels are just touching as Trayvon Diggs intercepted the ball in the end zone in front of Dallas Goedert. Like it was like simultaneously. And all these idiots in the back of the plane start clapping and cheering. And all the Eagles fans like, how many Cowboys fans are on this flight? And then we just realized they were just the idiots clapping because the plane landed. It was just like simultaneous. It was hilarious.
Listen, I'm very anti-clapping when the plane lands, but if you're flying Spirit cross country, I might be for it. I have a standing ovation if that thing lands.
Cross country, I made it out of Mexico.
That's far. That's far.
We smuggled breast milk through too. That was a whole other thing.
Is that not allowed?
Huh?
Is that not allowed?
I don't. It's yes or no, but I don't know. They let us bring it. So yeah.
Oh,
it was fun.
That'll be the next thing.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean the Cowboys are in free fall, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. I mean, I think they're going to get
airlines flights.
Yeah, they are. They are the Spirit Airlines. They're not. I said it on my recap show. They're not the laughing stock of the NFL. They're the laughing stock of sports in the world because they tout that they're the Forbes most biggest expensive franchise. They have season ticket holders that run up to the gate to sell their tickets that are now just selling those tickets to other fans. That was a 50-50 split. It felt like Eagles fans and Cowboys fans. And I was supposed to be at that game. Thank God we didn't go. So I need them to lose. I need them to tear it down. Hopefully something changes philosophy in terms of getting involved with free agency next year. Give me a top 3, top 5 pick with a new head coach, new coaching regime, and you try and point your North Star towards the moon, something like that. Because it needs to be shut down. I don't think Jerry.
You're operating under the assumption that fucking franchise knows where the sun and the moon lies in the sky at any point in time.
Maybe somebody will, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't think Jerry will get rid of Mike unless if they lose to the Texans big, and then if they lose at home to the Giants on Thanksgiving, I think that might be the breaking point. If they lose to
Giants at home on Thanksgiving. I know both games are nationally televised, but that one just feels different.
Yep.
Because you're losing to a bad team at home against a rival on Thanksgiving. Yeah, that would be horrible. Two things with that though. Yes, they are the laughing stock of the league right now. You look, there's a lot of bad teams, but a lot of those teams expected to be bad going into the year.
Yep.
For instance, you can't find a Giants fan who was, on solid ground with the future of the franchise.
Nope.
The Panthers are another one. There are teams out there who expected to be bad, and a lot of them are kind of like the mid-level teams. So Cleveland was not thrilled about Deshaun Watson. Carolina was not thrilled. Teams like that.
Yep.
The Cowboys were a playoff team. As you mentioned, they tout themselves as being the most valuable franchise. They play in Jerry's world. Every game's nationally televised. They were expected to be good, and they are just as bad. And it's the optics of it with the sun and the tours and everybody. The fan base seems it's the most checked out they've been. So a lot of the fans are rooting for them to be bad and get a top 5 pick. Here's the problem. And we talked about it on my TikTok live because a few people brought it up. There are so many bad teams.
Yes.
That it is not a guarantee that they're a top 5 pick.
No.
Like there are a lot of bad teams. And I don't remember it being like this. Going into this week.
It's been an odd season.
There were 9 teams with 2 wins.
Yeah.
So right there, a quarter of the league is already out. It's not even Thanksgiving, and we're talking about over a quarter of the league is out. They're done.
Our division's a 2-horse race.
Yes. Two bad teams. And both of those teams are competing for the first overall pick with 8 other teams.
Yep. I honestly, I don't know where a couple more wins comes. They're not beating the Texans. They're not beating, I don't think they're going to beat Washington, maybe the Panthers. It's just like, with Cooper Rush at the helm or Trey Lance now, it just like if Dak was in there, you could maybe see squeaking out some wins, but now it's just free fall.
The defense maybe is like the saving grace. Micah, they did look good in the first half.
Yes. Yeah.
Overshown if he is healthy.
Yes. He's a freak.
He's a freak. Micah Parsons back. We'll see if they get Deron Bland back.
Rico and Zeke too. The coaching, like Rico's looking good. He's got 50 yards, and then they're like, "Nope, here, let's give it to Zeke," and he fumbles it in the end zone. They're like, "All right, just give it back to him again." Like
that was very funny to me.
The week after benching the guy,
you benched him, but then trusted him within the 5-yard line in a 1-score game. Everything about it is crazy.
It's become, it's weird too. And it almost like I was in the plane watching and then watching on my phone, going through customs and then getting on the shuttle to the car and then listening to it in the car ride home. And like, usually my like blood would be boiling. It's hate week. It's Cowboys Eagles. And I was just sitting there like, okay. Like it makes me more mad that I feel this way than being angry. It's a horrible feeling.
I was going to say, I've been there. That hopeless feeling is worse than being passionately mad about a team. Because you're like, I don't have anywhere to go. They're just bad, and I don't have a reason like to root for it to get better.
Like, and I love the banter. Like, even my wife's family are Eagles fans. Like, the Cowboys suck. And now I'm like,
like, you kind of have to take it. Yeah, I hate them more than you hate them right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I feel like a Sixers fan.
Well, welcome.
All right. So I think, and this finally is going to be the last thing. I've been saying it since July, and now it seems there are other Cowboys content creators putting it out there about the Kellen Moore thing. I just want to put my stamp on it that I have said it since the summer that I thought Kellen Moore was going to be the head coach next year because Cowboys would underachieve. Check. Eagles offense looks pretty good. I think we can say kind of check. Jerry fires or does not bring back Mike. I think we're almost to check. And then bring your boy Wonder back. He doesn't have to worry about paying a head coach a massive amount of money, which he doesn't like to do with a Mike Vrabel or a Bill Belichick. He's not bringing in a coordinator like a Ben Johnson who he doesn't know, which he doesn't like to do. He likes to keep it in the family. He wanted Jason Garrett to be his next Tom Landry, and then he wanted Kellen Moore to be his next Jason Garrett. He had to let go of Kellen Moore because of Mike McCarthy. They didn't get along, so he let him go. We know what he did with the Chargers. Now he's kind of succeeding with Eagles, and then he brings his boy Wonder back into the light, brings him home, gives him the baby, and then at the press conference does the whole, if you let something you love leave, if it comes back to you, it was always yours. Like, that's what Jerry's going to say, and then it's going to be Kellen Moore. So watch. We can take Mike Vrabel out. It's not going to be Belichick. It's either going to be Kellen Moore or Jerry's going to coach the team himself.
Not opposed to watching that happen either. I think that'd be pretty funny.
Jackie Moon Jones. All right, let's get on to real football, real teams, fun teams.
Game of the year?
So far,
I am in my worst spot, which is confident. I hate that. Always hate when I'm confident.
Nothing worse.
I will say, there are some factors that are outside of Philadelphia or Washington and stuff like that. One, being on a short week, they have some injury issues. We're getting healthier. Jordan Mailata is going to play. Marshon Lattimore came out today. He will not play. Brian Robinson has missed 2 weeks with a hamstring issue. That feels like a tough turnaround to me to be ready in 3 days.
Yeah.
If you couldn't play Sunday with a hamstring, you're good to go Thursday.
That's a tough turnaround.
And then their tackle missed last week as well. So they've got some injury things on a short week. And I brought this up a few times through live streams now. The Eagles are better suited for short weeks.
Mm-hmm.
One, they're at home. Two, the way that they like to run their offense, and really leans on teams in second halves. They want to run the ball first. You're like tackling Saquon Barkley in the fourth quarter of a football game just is not a fun experience. It's just, he's a freak athlete that you have to deal with for 4 quarters against an offensive line that pulverizes people. After a while, you saw it against the Cowboys once they started turning the ball over, but there were hands on hips. You saw the bellies, coming in and out, so they looked tired. And I think it kind of leans on teams, and I think it leans on them even more in short weeks.
And I think they're even set up even more that they didn't really have to over-exude on Sunday.
They played 3 quarters.
They played 3 quarters, and I don't want to say they played half-ass, but like they didn't have to grind to win that game, right? The first quarter, it was a little bit of a football game. Congratulations on scoring in the first quarter.
Back-to-back weeks.
It was just like and then they get it's not that long of a flight from Dallas to Philly, right? You come home, it's a jubilant flight. You just beat your rival, and now you get another one at home. Fans are going to be juiced. I think they're perfectly set up for this game. And I would
everybody's juiced. I think everybody's kind of found their role. I want to get into what the X factor could be the other way if they were to struggle. But I do think from this sense, regardless of opponent, everybody has found their role. And I did a YouTube breakdown. Check it out on our YouTube page. Subscribe, like the video, of keys to this game. The defensive line has seemed to put it together.
Yep.
Early on this season, they couldn't stop the run. And everyone's asking why. It's like, well, Bracehoff is tiny and he can't get off the ball in run blocking situations.
Mm-hmm.
His snap count has gone way down, but they're using him for what he's good for. And he's good in rushing the passer situations. So on 3rd and longs, when it's like they have to throw the ball, he's in there. But on 1st and 2nd downs, he's not. And when he's not, they're actually a lot better at stopping the run. A lot of guys have been getting increased snap counts, and they've been playing better.
That goes back to that reflection piece that you talked about earlier.
It's crazy how that works. The offensive line came to Nick Sirianni and said, let's run more play action. And then they did, and then the offense was better. And then on defense, they were like, all right, let's watch film. What's going on? He's just not a 3-down guy. Now, you could criticize the fact that they spent $60 million on a guy who can't play every down. But regardless, it does bode well that Nolan Smith has been playing better. You saw Jalix Hunt on Sunday. A lot of the young guys are balling out. I can't even begin to tell you how much seeing good linebacker play in Philadelphia is insane. Yeah. I haven't seen it since Jeremiah Trotter, the dad, was on the team. His son's now on the team. That's how long we went without good linebacker play.
You know what? You know what's crazy? Speaking about, you want to feel old?
What?
You know,
Yeah.
Thomas Davis, the linebacker from Carolina, who was a beast.
Yeah.
His son just committed to Notre Dame.
Well, I can already guarantee that kid's gonna be good.
But
That
like,
is crazy to me.
I remember, didn't he like break his arm and then play in the like in the Super Bowl or something? Yeah, he was a beast. I would also like to say, listen, Saquon's having an unbelievable season. I think we saw with the Eagles what they are and are not with AJ Brown. I think that shows his MVP characteristics. I think Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean have been phenomenal. But I would fight to say that Fred Johnson has been the MVP of this team so far.
I tweeted that out this week.
Did you? I missed that.
Yeah. I didn't expect it to go viral, and it did. I was like, we got a lot of Fred Johnson stands that I did not know about.
But this has never happened before for this team, and it never happened like in Dallas. Like, you lose Lane Johnson, you're done. He comes back, you lose Mulata, you're done. He's like, no, I'm good. We got this.
To have he's played both, and that's the craziest part. He's played both sides. So he's been a swing tackle who had to step in for Lane Johnson. And he hadn't played football in 2 years. To step in for the best tackle right now in football is one thing. I forget which one it was, but he's like, I haven't played left tackle or right tackle ever. So he's kind of like doing this swing tackle thing on the fly. And for a backup swing tackle, that's all you could ask for. They've been 7 deep on the offensive line this year because Tyler Steen has filled in as well and performed well. So I totally agree with you. I think Fred Johnson is the unsung hero of that first half who really kept it together. This offense has not had all 11 projected starters since week 1 against the Packers. If you really think about it, until Mulata's back tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And they're 7-2 and they've won 5 straight.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
It really is.
It means a lot.
It's like it's almost like the Avengers coming together. You said like good linebacker play, actual offensive linemen that can back up and play well. It's like all these things are happening. Shit.
Yes. This is like Avengers Civil War too, because the Commanders are the other way. It's like when they that Civil War scene when they're fighting at the airport and they see Black Panther for the first time and they're like, "Holy shit, who's this guy?"
That Dan Quinn guy seems to have a team flying around, having fun. Wonder who had him before he went and got this job.
Who could it be? Honestly, we know exactly what's going to come because of what happened when he was the Cowboys defensive coordinator. They are going to fucking play like a Madden playing Engage 8 and just send the house at Jalen Hurts every time. Yep. You even saw it on Sunday. Like they're just going to pressure, and make Jalen Hurts read and react quickly. He's been better at it, but that's kind of where they've gotten caught up. And he held the ball for too long. Sometimes it was infuriating on Sunday at the first quarter because you're like, brother, why are you holding on to this ball? We're so much better. Just throw it away. Any non-negative play, even if it's neutral, you're killing this team.
Yep.
So just eliminate that. Don't hold on to the ball. But you know exactly what Dan Quinn's going to do. He's going to send the house quite often.
Yep. And he doesn't really disguise what he does. You know, he lets his guys go out there and line up, and he just, you know, even though they're like, well, they kind of know what we're playing. And he's like, yes, but I trust my guys to be in their spots and do what they're going to do. He doesn't like the whole messing with communication and showing 4 different, you know, and now we see what the Cowboys issue is this year with Zimmer. They have like 97 different calls. They're changing the play 4 times within, and then you blink and no one knows where they're supposed to be.
And then, and it's like you don't play assignment football. Speaking of assignment football on the other side, because the Commanders are going to play assignment football, how often, this is a great win. They played well. There are still too many times where Jalen Hurts bails on the pocket, and then you're watching the screen, and there's no one within 10 yards. Every route is down the field, and I don't get it. Like the amount of, I don't want to call it 4 verticals because I know it's probably not that simple, but the amount of like pushing receivers down the field just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And it seems like every time they have short or intermediate routes, they do well. So there were just too many times on Sunday where he like threw the ball away and you don't even see a receiver because they're 15 plus yards downfield.
It seems like they're all have a bonus on their GPS numbers in game. And then each guy who has run the furthest in the game gets a bonus. So they're like, we're just sending them.
Oh my God. They're like the dog. You let them off the leash and they take off.
Any chance you think
that's going to the line of scrimmage?
Think Dotson can go off against his old team this week?
He might. He's been playing well lately. Back-to-back weeks with a really great catch. Like he had the back shoulder one against the Cowboys, and the week before, an awesome acrobatic catch against the Jaguars. So he's been coming along. Obviously, he doesn't get a ton of targets. This was number one of my takeaways, keys to the game video, but Devontae Smith and the utilization of him. We're getting a ton of like fantasy. Should I panic on him or trade him? Because like 3 times a year, he has a game where he's non-existent, catches 2 balls for 12 yards, and everybody freaks out. He had 2 for 14 against the Cowboys. You look at it against the Giants, he had 1 reception for negative yards. And then they course corrected. In the following 2 weeks, he had 80 plus yards receiving and a touchdown. It's always like that with him. Like it cycles through and they course correct on him. So I'm expecting a huge, huge game from Devontae Smith. And you look at the numbers for AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I know it's different teams. It's a new coach. It's a whole new regime in Washington, but they have eaten this team alive.
Yes.
In the past.
Emmanuel Forbes literally got taken to the shed.
That poor kid was crying on the bench by the time AJ Brown was done with them. Like that was like when you watch a fight and you're like, well, he's either going to die or by some miracle of God, they're going to ring the bell and he'll make it back to the corner. That was that kid against AJ Brown last year.
And I mentioned Dotson because I feel like Sirianni's the type of coach too that's going to try and get him involved to like get him a touchdown or something in this game against his former team.
Yeah, he'll probably have him like try to throw a touchdown pass, which
to Jordan
would be
Mailata.
Point number 3 and what we need to do in this game, and it's not do shit like that. All right. I once again, I am all on board with being aggressive as a football team. I am not on board with being aggressively stupid. So we don't need to do stuff like that. We don't need to go for 2 when it's 16-0 and we can just kick the extra point and go up 3 possessions, or go for 2 to go what? Up 3 possessions. It doesn't make sense. Just play the game correctly. It involves aggressiveness, but that doesn't mean that is the way to always be.
It's going to be 4th and 1 from the 17-yard line. Mailata's going to report as an eligible receiver.
Coming off a hamstring injury. And he's going to run 4 verticals with Mailata down there, and he's going to pitch it back to Dotson, and Dotson's going to throw a bomb to Mailata from the 17-yard line. They'll have Jake Elliott in fucking Guantanamo Bay for 3.5 quarters. They'll go for it on every 4th down. They'll run a trick play with Jahan Dotson. Every 4th and 5 or less, they're going for it. And then they'll be like, oh, man, should we go for it and ice the game right here or kick the field goal to go up 6? And Jayden Daniels still has a minute and a half to go down the field to get a touchdown. We're going to kick it from 57 yards.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yep. God, how about kickers? Koo missed 3. Mooney missed 4, didn't he? But then hit the game winner.
Yep.
It's just Chiefs end up fucking blocking a kick, of course, at the last second to win the game. It's just
they made a deal with the devil that I'm willing to also make. So if Satan would like to discuss business, I am open for business to get the Eagles like the Chiefs.
Apparently, the devil just took a little bit from Mahomes and Kelsey today. I don't know if you saw that, but both their homes were broken into in Kansas City.
At the same time?
Yeah.
Wow. That's scary.
How do you not have like legitimate, just like personal security? Like,
I thought they did. I remember Jason saying since Travis dated Taylor, he was getting so many people just showing up at his house that he had to move.
Maybe I would like if I had that much money, I would hire like 3 former SEAL Team 6 guys.
Yes,
like, you live here now.
I would hire the guy who tweeted out that he wanted those little liberal kids to be his like dominatrix last week. Did you see that before the election? I would hire him. He'd scare everybody off. Like, that guy is a lunatic.
I don't know who I'm even like, what I'm rooting for or hoping for in this game. It's such a weird feeling.
True. I do think all in all, this will be a great football game.
Yes.
I think Mike Tagg came on here. I don't know if you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Vince lit up like a Christmas tree. He called the Commanders frauds.
Yes.
He said that we would whoop them.
Yep.
The TikTok people were not thrilled with that assessment of the Commanders, as you can imagine. Regardless, I don't think they're frauds, but I do think we are a better team when we play our best football and when we're healthy.
Agreed. I
Even
think
at our best.
like a step above them.
I do feel that way. I really feel that way. I also think the Commanders are at a disadvantage in health in the short week, on the road, all of those things, right? So it's honestly doesn't even feel like the most fair battle at this point. Yeah. But regardless, I think this is these teams are at most like 6 points better than one another. Like that's the best you can hope for. This is the game where I sit 6 inches from the television screen. Don't plan on texting me. I will be in a dark hole like Christian Bale's character in Dark Knight Rises when he ends up in that prison and he's watching the game from the underground prison. That's going to be me in this game because this is going to be tight. This is going to be nerve-wracking. This feels like a playoff atmosphere, especially with it being under the lights. I'm pretty excited for this. I just think it'll be good football. And there's juice. There is serious juice to this game.
And 3.5 points. There is a lot of juice.
A lot of juice.
I saw somebody tweeted when Eberflus from the Bears just fired the offensive coordinator, and sent him packing. And somebody just tweeted the meme from the Dark Knight Rises with Bane, where he was pushing him out. He's like, they expect one of us to be in the wreckage, friend.
That's my favorite scenes.
So funny.
The other one, that was you on Spirit Airlines when they like, what are you planning to do? Crashing this plane. Great scene.
Oh God. Yeah, I
pulled that thing off. Will that hurt? It will. For you. You're a tough guy. You can handle it. For you.
The best. I think this is going to be the most raucous atmosphere that Jayden Daniels is walking into yet as a player, and that is saying something because he just played in Pittsburgh.
Well, they played at home. They did play at
home.
They were,
well, yeah, that's right. But did you see the amount of terrible towels?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was just about to say that it didn't feel like a home game. I'm sure. To me, this is like the Jayden Daniels thing in the experiment where he is a great quarterback. Some of the college tape, he played like Wile E. Coyote at points in college, and you're like, brother, don't get yourself killed. You're good at football.
Yep.
That is the type of stuff where I think the Eagles are better equipped at handling him than other teams. I mentioned it earlier in the show, but Nolan Smith's athleticism at defensive end was a strength coming out of college, and now we're finally witnessing it. Bryce Huff has the burst as a pass rusher. He's just not a good run stopper. Jalix Hunt, the linebackers who are covering sideline to sideline. Also, the Zach Bond, I think there are 3 of him. Every time I watch, he is everywhere. They like that fumble that we talked about was Zeke Elliott, and it would look like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got there first, and then they watched the replay. It's like Zach Bond was also there. I was like, of course he was. Why wouldn't he be? Who recovered the fumble? Zach Bond. Who was in on the tackle? Zach Bond. Like there are 3 of him at all times, which bodes well against the mobile quarterback. Jayden Daniels only had 5 yards rushing a week ago. They need to do that again. If Brian Robinson's not out there, work on containing him, and we do have the athleticism to do so.
I mean, they did it very well against the mobile cornerback of Cooper Rush last week. So if they can do it again.
We handled the Trey Lance package with ease.
As the sun arrives for me.
Yes. This is too perfect. The sun's literally hitting you in the face.
That's what I was hoping for.
Oh, boy.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah. Where's the moon?
Where's the moon? It is currently mid-afternoon on a Wednesday. Where's the moon, Jerry?
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So, and also, I just have to shout this out every podcast from now until the end of time. Terry McLaurin has been awesome this year. Yes. We're finally getting to see him. He is as advertised with a good quarterback, but he will be in Quinyanamo Bay with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, who are 2 of the most important people in my life.
Yes.
It goes the family I'll spend Thanksgiving with. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. That top 5 most important people in my life. Those 2, another big week for them. If they can strap Terry McLaurin and help shut down this offense, because boy, does he get some air yards. Man, we are talking about possible rookie of the year for Quinyon at this point.
Now, what happens when the Eagles play on Thanksgiving?
Well, I probably have to go to the game so we can all celebrate together.
So, do they jump the family for that day of importance?
If we win.
Okay.
Yeah. I think my parents would be okay with that. If Cooper DeJean returned a punt for a touchdown.
I think they would be above you and your dad's
They
Right.
are above me in this power ranking system. I'm not even top 10 most important lives in my own life. So
Where does Alex Bregman go in your dad's rankings when he becomes a Philly?
Ooh, great question. Whew. Probably top 5. Probably.
Yeah.
I should have him rank our family members compared to Phillies players.
You should, yeah, and throw Bruce Springsteen in there.
That's my mom. He's definitely.
Oh, that's your mom. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He's in there. We have you ever seen the back of our house? We have a shrine to Bruce Springsteen in the house.
Give your dad 10 spots for family and Phillies all time. I want a realistic ranking.
He'd be pulling guys for the 1960s that we've never even heard. That's the best part. It wouldn't be Bryce Harper. It would be like a shortstop from 1962.
And you'd be like, that really? I'm below him?
Yeah, probably. I'm below Cooper DeJean and Quinyanamo Mitchell on my own list. They're more important. In terms of like who's going to positively impact my livelihood, Quinyanamo Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have a larger impact on me personally than me personally. They're the best. They're so good. They're good at everything. I love them.
Yes. I mean, I think we saw this on draft night. I was sitting in this exact seat recording with you when the Mitchell pick was made. I think we couldn't believe he fell to the Eagles. Everything literally lined up perfectly. And then when they made the move in the next round, everyone knew it was for Cooper. And just, I mean, we all knew pairing those guys together for the future was going to be incredible. And now we just see the future is here. The future is now.
It has been a season of, you know what? The Bryce Huff thing has not worked out. There should be probably some valid criticism on how they handle defensive end. Aside from that, a lot of these guys that they went after are somehow better than advertised. Saquon, so far better than advertised. Quinyon, better than advertised. Cooper DeJean, better than advertised. Zach Bond was supposed to be a special teamer and is now winning NFC Defensive Player of the Week. So I would say better than advertised. There's just been a lot of like, this was what it was made for, though. Like, these are why you brought these guys in, because at this point last year, 10 weeks into the season, you were what, 10-0, and then you collapsed. So this is it. This is it. This is where you started to falter last year. You got 3 good games on deck, really good football to play. You're playing your best. You're your healthiest that you've been. Let's get after it, boys. I'm excited. Like, this is what football is all about. I love the juice. I love the juice of this.
And I got the Texans on Monday night.
Should be fun.
With them coming off a disastrous loss, and they're going to be very, very angry.
They picked a good offense off 5 times. How do you feel, before we wrap up, about the Cowboys offense in that situation, who also turned the ball over 5 times? Yeah. Yeah, true. Exactly.
I mean, there is an opportunity that the Cowboys have more turnovers than points on Monday night.
They got close. They had 6 points and 5 turnovers against the Eagles. Also, this is kind of funny. We'll wrap on this story. I know a guy, he plays like a super flex fantasy league, so you can have 2 quarterbacks. His were Jared Goff and CJ Stroud. And he was like, I just need those 2 guys to have like not average days, not good, not great, just like barely average, and I'll win. And they turned the ball over 10 times.
Dude, Cooper Rush was 13 of 23 for 45 yards.
They didn't hit 50 yards. Quinyanamo Bay.
CeeDee Lamb had 6 catches for 21 yards.
That's kind of hard to do.
Like, and he had 10 targets. 10
They're
targets,
like a step
6
away
catches.
from running the high school wishbone offense, where they're just handing it to CD and jet sweep situations the entire game.
Yeah, and can we stop with the CD jet sweeps that everyone knows is coming? You run it every week. You don't run anything off of it, and you're just going to get him killed at this point.
I wanted the Eagles to run that. They've run it out of
they don't run it
before.
3 times a game.
Yeah, I think the good way to get Jahan Dotson involved, I think we could break it out at some point, maybe this week. I think we could see some variation to how they run things, just to, I think in a short week, most teams are just planning for their base, and it's like, let the talent play out from there. So maybe this is the week. Nick Sirianni, don't go too crazy with this, but like one of those jet sweep situations that the 49ers and Rams are very good at, I think would be worthwhile to try this week and hand it off to Dotson now that we're running more under center. Should be it's creativity without being overly aggressive.
And I'm ending with this. I am putting money down on a Jahan Dotson anytime touchdown Thursday night.
I'll take it. Last time these two teams played, the last guy to catch a touchdown for the Eagles was Julio Jones. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that we see Jahan Dotson catch one. I like that prediction. I'll rock with it.
I'm going to say Jahan Dotson scores a touchdown and Olamide Zaccheaus.
That one's their
forwards.
Those two guys scoring and then not AJ Brown or Terry McLaurin is the funniest possible outcome. Zach Ertz also scoring a touchdown.
And Noah Brown. Yeah, Zach Ertz and Noah Brown. It's going to be great.
Actually, the funniest possible outcome would be if you just take the Commanders' outcome from last week and make it against the Eagles, where Zach Ertz got no yards after the catch and fell down 9 yards, and they need on 4th and 10. I thought he got it in his defense, but that would be the funniest outcome.
Oh, all right, let's end on this. Oh, I'm just kidding. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for listening. Massive, massive, massive game on Thursday night, and then the battle for Texas on Monday night. That Houston, take it, baby. That's all I got to say. Make sure you follow us right here on our YouTube page, Birds vs. Boys Pod. Like, subscribe, comment. Aiden's been going off on TikTok. Make sure you follow him on TikTok for the lives and all of that. I still need the login to the TikTok so I can figure out how to tick the talk. And make sure you follow us everywhere on social media. Birds vs. Boys Pod, Twitter. I was about to say LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And then wherever you listen to podcasts, Google, Spotify, Apple, we are there with full episodes as well. Eagles go to take a stranglehold on the NFC East and take one step closer to the playoffs Thursday night, while the Cowboys play Monday night with Cooper Rush.
Blinded by the lights.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is?
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.